Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the KSL Group D. This is our second day of the week that we're broadcasting KSL. It's our second time casting together. And it's the last time that we're going to have KSL until the week after BlizzCon, because that's coming up. We've got the ASL Finals coming up. We've got KSL versus ASL coming up. Lots and lots of Brood War, but not before we finish today's games. And coming up next, we've got Modesty versus Leta, kind of some really old school players coming back in a big way.
Oh, yes. We're back on stage, and right after this, there will be the WCS opening. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if StarCraft 2 is your thing, if that's why you are here on this channel, maybe it's your WCS Global Finals waiting room, but we've got some good games for you while you wait.
So you got two clowns on the camera. We're going to entertain you until that moment.
Clowns? I've got, like, the Allspark, like, burning right here. I'm, like, casting Tony Stark. It's, like,
that
so bright from the lights
for
here.
$255, yes.
It was a bargain, okay? It was worth it.
Shipping costs more than the actual price.
I should have gotten it from Gmarket, man. Anyway, it's good to be here for you guys casting some old school players. And we got to kind of set the stage here, because these are players that have very storied histories that probably not a lot of newcomers to Brood War. Maybe you just started playing with StarCraft Remastered. You're not going to know a lot about these guys, but they are absolute badasses. Now, we mostly have 1v1 leagues nowadays, but back in the day, we used to have Pro League, and these are two of the best Pro League players of their time.
Yeah, like Pro Leagues, we're talking about like team battles. 1v1, one knocks out, and the next player comes out. That's how we had the team battles, basically. So the first one we're going to have on stage, seems like we're going to have Modesty, Kim Hyunwoo.
This is Modesty. Modesty was one of my favorite Zerg players in his time. He played almost exclusively ZVZ.
He was the best.
He was the best ZVZ player for his team. He actually helped bring his team some very, very crucial Pro League victories just off of how good he was at that matchup. And so while that might be the matchup that he is strongest at, it's not the one he's playing here today. And you might notice that, yeah, he came through a pretty darn difficult qualifier run. He ran up against Doje, which is best. Yeah, best. One of the best Protoss players out there right now. He beat him 2-0 in the semifinals. Then he took on Calm in a super close series and took him out 3-2. So Modesty had a pretty tough trip through the qualifiers, and he absolutely killed it.
He's known as the ZVZ machine, basically. He has close to very high 50% win rate out of like 50 games back in the Pro League. Of course, that's a long time ago records. But everything else, especially ZVT that he has, it's around 40%-ish win record, which is not too high of a percentage.
Yeah.
Which is the matchup for him today against Leta, who's coming up on stage.
Yeah, this is Leta, not the Sailor Scout. It's spelled differently, okay, guys? He is a TVT badass. And he used to be, of course, the TVT player for his team. He was on the Heights Sparkies or Entis Sparkies or whatever you were calling the Sparkies way back in the day. He also had a trip through the qualifiers, but his was much easier. He beat Gamo in the finals. And it wasn't actually that close of a series.
He was known as the Miracle Boy. That's the meme, because his entire team would lose all the match, but at least he would win one game.
Well, that's the thing, is he had a couple of really sick all kills, because basically his entire team would fall apart and he would be the guy that would come out and win games for them. Now, sometimes it wasn't enough to carry the team, but he still was a very, very strong Terran player, specifically in TVT. This is one of the only guys that you could see come up against guys like Flash in Pro League and have a really good chance at taking him out. In fact, there was an MSL, it was, I think, Lost Saga, where he eliminated Flash by BBSing him in the third and final game of their match to advance on and eliminate Flash from that tournament. It was so sick because it just took balls of steel to do it, and he was one of the only players that could really consistently go toe-to-toe with some of the best Terrans out there.
He had a lot of history from 2006 to 2013, but he went to the military, and now he's back.
These are two players that were really peaking towards the end of the previous era of Brood War, and now they're back to see if they can climb back up there once again.
And he does change his playstyle a lot in the middle of the matches, like what they call late mech or late bio. He suddenly just goes mech or bio. He switches that often, especially against Zerg, which actually could be a very big play that could turn around if he's losing or winning even harder.
Yeah, specifically in this matchup for Leta, he's very well known for going 2 Starport Wraith against Zerg,
yes,
which is not standard by any means, but he really makes it work. His Wraith micro is some of the best in the world. He actually off-races as Zerg, and he's known for microing like 2 or 3 clumps of mutas at the same time. Super sick control. So I'm hoping we get a chance to see that highlighted in his game against Modesty here, because it is going to be a TVZ. We got a little taste of what this matchup looked like yesterday, but I think it's safe to say that this will be a lot different. So let's go ahead and get into game number 1. It's Modesty versus Leta. Here we are on Heartbreak Ridge, as we are for every game 1. In the blue is our Zerg player Modesty on the left, and in the red is our Terran player Leta on the right.
Yeah, we might just see that 2 Starport Wraith attack once again. This is a...
Yes, you have correctly identified that this is in fact quite an early SCV. But where could it be? Is there perhaps a supply depot built? What's that? There isn't?
Is this a 6-player map?
Maybe he's going to build the supply depot out on the map, G. No, that is not going to happen. There are barracks and barracks only that this SCV is allowed to build.
Modesty has quite a history in Brood War. Okay.
Well,
but the Overlord actually...
Are you kidding?
Really?
Are you kidding me?
Really?
Now, this is odd because there were a couple of games that Leta played way back in the previous era where his coach actually like paused the game and he's like, is this guy really scouting everything perfectly correctly? And it turns out he was just, he just have sick game sense. But this time it's Modesty's sick game sense to know exactly where this 8 racks is coming down. How does he know?
No, he doesn't. He does
no
not.
Way.
No way. He just turned around.
No way.
Before, like 3-4 seconds before that happened.
All right, well, we are going to witness the death of a human here, G-Clef. Wow. If he doesn't die from this attack, he's going to be feeling pretty dead inside that he heartbreakingly did not scout the barracks on the ridge. If you see what I did there. That's the name of the map, G-Clef.
Yep, I know. That may actually be a tough one. Let's see this SCV,
it's going to be super tough.
Maybe with the angle where he just came in from, he's going to have some idea, but not really, because the Overlord actually was quite away by that time.
It's about when he pulls the trigger on this. Obviously, if he had scouted that barracks, there'd already be drones out here maybe, depending on how hard he wanted to commit to it. But certainly now that this bunker starts to come down, Modesty realizes that the jig is up.
Something crazy is up, that's what he knows. And already a Marine here pulls a lot of his drones out from the base.
Yeah, it leaves just enough mining so he will not lose everything. But
as long as that bunker's not made.
Yeah, well, this is only round 1, right? We've still got Marines coming through, but there are now Zerglings out, right? So this is going to be held for the most part. It's not totally over, but it's going to hang on for now. So the biggest advantage he got was a little bit of lost mining time, and he shouldn't actually take too much damage from this on the other side, unless the Zerglings like randomly sneak through. But he's still got Marines to deal with that.
Timing for pull is fine, as long as he doesn't really lose too much. The bunker did not finish.
Oh, and he's still actually going to get the scout. The Zerglings didn't stay back home, or 2 of the Zerglings didn't stay back home. And just 2 Zerglings, unless you're on hold position in that tiny gap, are not going to deny the scout. So Leta's actually going to get the realization that this is just going to be 2 hatch play on the other side, and he's going to get in and see the lair timing too, which is so crucial.
If he actually had the hatch first, that might have been just bunker getting finished and then Marines pressuring into the Zerg. But because he got, I believe he got the pull first, I was so focused on the Overlord and everything we didn't quite catch. But because of that, he got the Zerglings first. I think that was just enough as a defense. He wanted to go a little aggressive, which actually worked out for Modesty in a way.
And Leta should be going into something along the lines of like a 1-1-1 build right here. And this does set him up to do that Wraith play that we were talking about if he wants to. Honestly, that's not something that you should expect. It'd be more along the lines of like a traditional 1-1-1 now. But it would be cool if he wants to go that direction. This should be, yeah, Spire coming down for what looks to be 2 hatch Muta play from Modesty.
Okay, he does spot the add-on onto the factory with that Zergling on the high ground as well. But Starport was going up, so that's what Modesty doesn't know at the moment.
There's also no second gas coming down here, so I'm not sure exactly if Leta is aware of that. Okay, so he does have a Vulture right there. So the Vulture should be able to get in close enough to see the gas and the timing thereof just now being put down, and that should tell him everything he needs to know.
Is he going to make the second Starport, though? I don't think he's going to. It's not really required.
If he does, that's really exciting, right?
Yeah, it could be a pretty cool build, but it's not really the best move to make right now at that moment.
Yeah, in general, even though you can micro wraiths similarly to mutas, not quite as advisable. And yeah, there's the engineering bay. He's going to be rock solid here. And when you're going for a 2-hatch build as a Zerg player, you're sacrificing a lot of economy, right? You don't have the macro hatch, you don't have a third base coming up, and so the 2-hatch usually needs to deal a little bit of damage. Otherwise, you don't really put yourself into a good mid-game position.
Yeah, this is a lot like what Sharp was trying to do yesterday against Larva. Having that 1-1-1, having one race, getting some scouting done. This race cannot really do harassing. It's mostly for scouting. Because the Scourge and Mutas will be out soon. You can't really make too many Wraith. You're going to end up just wasting that, not really getting too much for that.
Yeah, I mean, it does ensure that there's no Overlords out of the map, right? Maybe there's a sneaky one somewhere, but not going to be very effective. And theoretically, neither should the Mutas, but maybe they find a crazy location to be in. These turrets are up way ahead of schedule, and I think Modesty realizes that probably he's not going to find a ton of damage here. They will try.
That's basically what ZVT is all about. Pressuring the opponent, making sure it's getting delayed.
Yep.
Turrets. Okay, that's going to be the first SCV gone.
Yeah, and the turrets are actually up in insufficient number here. The Vultures are going to try to run by. The Zerglings aren't in position to really block them all, and they will get past the Sunken in the front, or at least one or two of them will, into the main. So that's going to be some drones starting to go down. There's nothing back home to defend, and the Mutas are not able to get damage done on the other side of the map.
Two drones.
Bonus drone.
One. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, 3 Vultures for 3 drones, and getting some scouting done, which was basically not too required at the moment because he just saw the Mutas coming down. It was going to be either does he have the den or not. So he does spot that there's no den going up for now.
I love the bunker in the main. Our observer was pointing out that there's nothing else here for Modesty. This is it. He went 2-hatch Muta. He had it scouted early on, and realistically, Leta is just so rock solid that this shouldn't actually deal a whole lot of damage. I mean, you know, Leta's still on one base, right? So he's not getting out there very much, but I believe the observer showed us that we were getting cloaked for raids, and so this could still be a way that Leta could show his iconic way of holding this off.
Yeah, which could be a strategy that Leta thought when he had the first raid scouting. He basically saw
there's a cloak, and a Valkyrie actually does come down here as well. And if that's not the screw you to the 2-hatch Mutas, I don't know what is.
Yeah, one more.
Oh my god, no way. Well, this is how Modesty loses. And another drone. And another drone. So that really sucks as a Zerg player. If you're trying to be aggressive,
he's losing
you have to pull back.
Too much, and there's nothing else being made.
Oh man, and that's only one Vulture. Now
yeah,
a second one run by.
That's the thing. I think he wanted to go for that 3rd hatch on the bottom at 7 o'clock. That's why he doesn't really have anything else being made. He wanted to save up that minerals.
Yeah, this is it. This is going to do it. He's taking way too much damage. He's dealing way too little damage. There's just nothing that Modesty can do at this point. All Leta has to do is just survive, just hang on. He should just be just on the fast track to victory.
A little late on that 3rd hatch. I would say, of course, he did get a lot more Mutas because of that, but not just of the number. If you got that number, you have to do a lot more harassing, but because of that single Vulture, compared to that Modesty, couldn't really do much. With that bunker, as you mentioned, right in the base, Mutas can't really go in too hard. There are a few turrets as well around there. So Leta's got a good amount of defense with the Valkyries now. How many?
I think he's got two Valks and a bunch of Cloak Rays. Okay. Now, you might be saying, but wait, Leta's still only on one base too. But it's much worse for the Zerg player who needs a bunch of hatcheries to get out a bunch of larvae for a bunch of units. And he's only just now, like you said, putting down a 3rd hatch. I mean, Leta's national is still pretty delayed, but I mean, everything that Leta has counters everything that Modesty has.
Modesty is just delayed. He could, and then Leta was just a little farther ahead into the game. It's not over, but as long as Leta can do some harass like that with just few vultures, Modesty will fall behind even more, and then we may just see a GG. But actually, this is not.
Is he double expand? Oh no, that's a barracks. I don't know why I thought that.
This is something actually a little different from a Terran player, as we have Leta here. He's putting a lot more into the air because he saw the amount of. There's no Zergling, there's no Hydralisk, there's nothing else going up. So this must be basically Muta all in attack. So he's got a good amount of defense.
Well, that's what's so weird about this, right? I mean, Modesty is basically. Oh no. Okay, so this is going to be very interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all,
yes, exactly.
So first of all,
History
Modesty typed only 2 Ps here.
Yeah.
Now Leta, there was a very famous incident where Leta, his monitor like turned off or something.
Yeah, it had some issues with the graphics card.
And he tried to pause, but obviously he can't see the monitor.
We're talking about like long time
ago. And the KSL rule was that you had to type 3 Ps in order to request a pause for your game.
Yeah, in the clause it said either you can type capital 2 Gs, lowercase 2 Gs, or 3 Ps. Those were the only 3 exceptions for chatting in game.
But Leta accidentally only typed 2 Ps, and the KSL referee is like, you did what? Excuse me?
Get out of the game.
And they disqualified him. They gave him a match loss. And afterwards, they actually changed the rule so that you could type any number of Ps to request a pause.
Yeah, you can write 5 Ps.
But Leta took the hit for that one. He died that the rest of us might live.
And then Go Rush typed A, and then he lost as well.
Oh, that was another famous incident. But basically, the only thing that Leta has to, his arch nemesis, it's not Flash, it's not other strong players, it's the pause. And so it's kind of ironic that Modesty types 2 Ps and is not disqualified.
His excuse?
Because Leta typed 2 Ps and was.
And we don't actually know what PPP meant back
then.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Was it pause, please? Or
no, I thought
pause, please?
I thought PP was pause, please. But
back PP is pause, please.
Yeah.
But PPP, I don't know.
I don't know why that was the regulation, but it's just a little bit of trivia tidbit there.
Well, back then in Korea, things.
Yeah. Back in my day. But it's kind of ironic that that does happen in a match against Leta. And maybe that's Modesty's mind games, right? He's like, oh, he'll remember. But realistically, he probably just had some issue that we...
Pause pretty please, okay. Pretty please makes sense now. Okay, I've got it.
Cherry on top, C-O-T. That's what you got to type afterwards, right?
Okay,
probably not.
We had a pause. We don't I'm not getting the update. Exactly what the issue is, but
what is that?
Queen? Okay, snare time.
Yeah. So basically, the biggest counter to cloaked rays is stuff that uncloaks them and snare.
Slower. Everything.
Stuff that makes them slower and snare. And you know they're not going to fire very quickly either. It's also going to make the Valkyries harder to run away from Scourge that's chasing them too. So this is just going to be really cool. It's very rare that we get a chance to watch this because it's basically 0 ground units, only big air from both players.
And that's why we have that Sunken Colony.
Protect me! The drone health insurance for Modesty is basically only liability. There's no compensation here at all. Ugh.
Yeah, these are the things where Leta's just losing 1 vulture, but he's getting like 3-4 dribs every single time and making the entire air army move back to the base.
Well, I don't know a player who is better at air versus Zerg than Leta is. He really pioneered the 2 starport Wraith, and even though that's not what we saw, he's going big air versus big air. Now, Modesty is known for having not just a greater Spire, but perhaps the greatest Spire. And so if he does go for that, obviously that's a good way to sort of transition your mid-game Air Force into late game, get some Devourers out there, and that helps against Cloak Rays too, because you can see through that.
Well, Devourers are pretty expensive. I don't know if you're going to go all the way to that late game. It's possible.
I'm optimistic, G-Clef.
Yeah, optimistic. Just thinking about all the options. Yes, I do know, but with this many mutas,
I'm actually kind of surprised that he's going into Ultras.
I'm actually surprised that he's doing nothing else but just running around the map. And because I know, of course, with that many mutas, if you're caught with just few Valkyries, take so much hit, they will just be destroyed by few Valkyries.
Yeah. Especially now that in StarCraft Remastered, there used to be a bug, or not a bug, but just the old version of StarCraft couldn't actually handle like a billion models.
Valkyrie shots.
And so Valkyries fire a bunch of missiles. And so
I think it's Sprite.
Yeah, sprites.
There was limited amount of Sprite you can have in
yeah,
game. But
now they've raised the number of sprites that you can have in the game so high that Valkyries do fire all of their shots even when you're maxed out and have a lot of them. So tiny little tidbits shouldn't actually be that impactful. But one big transition that we're starting to see is that even though the air battle never really happened, both players are starting to go back towards ground here. So we've got Bio coming up from Leta and Modesty transitioning into Ultra Ling.
Ultralisk, but I don't see any Defilers though.
Yeah, where did those guys go?
I think those guys are coming out late because he has put out a lot of airs. So finally, Leta with the scans, careful moves with his Bio.
This fight is going to be so sick. This is going to be like a, I don't know, I wish there was like a cinematic button where we could just zoom out and watch it. Unfortunately, we have to do our job and cast it and stuff.
The most important part in these games will be the Scourge versus the Vessel. If they can survive against the Scourge, Terran, of course, will have so much effect onto all those Mutalisks with all the Irradiate later on. But if they get the perfect snipe, all the Vessels go down, that's basically going to be a Zerg win there.
Yeah, the other important thing to watch is going to be the Queen. Can it ensnare all the raids? I mean, that would be a perfect situation. Also, if we do see Defilers come out in the future, and I mean, I guess we should. They're pretty good units. We could see Plague on all of that too, which would be a pretty important moment. Either way, this is Insanity Bio pushing all the way up to the upper left, trying to deny this base, and it's only a fledgling base. And control of these science vessels. He's trying to irradiate, but it's not going to stop the Scourge in time to take out one. Saves the other two though, and the push continues. This base is basically dead.
Yep, that Nidus, of course, the copy will be destroyed as well very soon.
Wait.
But he does have everything coming. That should be the first one you should be going for. But so many ultras.
Nice
defense matrix.
Nice D-Matrix. Where's the ensnare? On a lot of the Bio, double ensnare. Everything here is going to die from Leta. A huge pickoff by Modesty. Beautiful usage of that Queen.
They're so much slower on everything, the movement and the attack speed as well. So that snare was actually really good. Even without the snare, I think that was going to be a big win for Modesty anyhow. But even bigger of a win now, he's going to push insanely hard.
I mean, there's a 6-sim city set up by Leta back at home, but after that fight, you should just watch the supply plummet for Leta. He's building a command center behind this, but realistically, I don't know when that's going to be able to be used here. Is that a drop or what? That's like 6 Overlords. Like, that's just a lot.
Okay, let's be professional and try to analyze. Draw those Valkyries. No.
What is happening? What am I watching on my screen? Are those like BM Overlords?
I actually have no
okay.
idea.
So Modesty's going into what we kind of like to call Sora on Zerg. Basically, when you take out what the Terran player uses to deny your bases on the map, you can take every base. And so he's actually literally taken every base on the map.
Let us. This any moment.
He quadruple expanded G-Clef. And that might not be... Oh, yeah, he's actually... the drop to deny the take of actually every base. So this isn't a Manor Hatch, but it's basically the same thing, where you just take every base. And oh no. G-Clef, could we perhaps see an infested command center? It's out there as a possibility. It's either that one or the one in front of it.
Or the natural or the actual base, because base had few turrets. And bunker might actually be empty.
Yeah, realistically, the Queen's there for ensnare, but I have hope. Hope, G-Clef.
No, infested Terran for the win.
That could happen.
Yeah, that's a drop, and on the way, he's going to find out a lot about what's
irradiates. Happening. What on? Oh man, that was not great. So those meters are actually really damaged. The drop down here might shut the 6 o'clock base down, but you know he's only got 18 other bases.
They're going way too strong. That's going to be stopped, and the main attack is coming out from the base. Ultras.
Those Ultras are pretty dead. I mean, they just take basically
They got the armor upgrade, so they're actually really strong against the Marine. They are surrounded. They will just die in tomatoes.
That's right.
Rotten tomatoes here.
Everywhere. The swarm's coming down. We might even have Plague here. I don't know if you researched that. There's the ensnare. Everything dies. GG. Leta taps out, and Modesty takes a very impressive mid to late game win there in game number 1.
Well, nice game.
That was actually really fun.
Well, I think Leta had lots of chances where he could have pushed out when he was getting some drone kills. I think he actually at least had half and half, a little over half and half actually, the moment he got like 3 drones with this one vulture coming down all the way into the base. He got a nice scouting done, but that's actually the moment where you should be pushing out with your own troop from the main base. He had a lot just stored inside. He never really made the right push against Zerg and gave all that time to make like 6 expansions around the map.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like not quite like the Hanbang, but he's just looking for one big, huge move out, and that was perfectly stopped dead in its tracks by Modesty's ensnare play. And I think you can tell by watching these players, especially compared to that TVZ we had yesterday with Larva and Sharp, that they play a totally different style. They're from a different era. They've got different strengths and weaknesses, and it's really cool to see so much variety from these 2 new players.
Yeah, that was actually really different. Sharp, actually, with a lot of his biotrip, he separated into 2, into 3, had the push at the right time, at least some drop before the Zerg actually takes that much advantage into the game. Well, that Overlord, I think it was slightly for BM. I was thinking that too, but he was kind of supply blocked. If he lost the Overlords, I think he was going to be supply blocked.
I don't know what was up with
like
that.
If it was like 140 out of 141, so
yeah,
that
I mean,
was a weird moment.
Modesty had kind of taken every base by that point, so I wouldn't read too much into that. I actually thought that Leta was in a pretty good spot because he had a lot of Valkyries, a lot of Vessels, but didn't use them in time. So that means it's going to take us into game number 2, and I'm interested to find out what map is coming up. It looks like it's Benzene. So Benzene, basically the replacement for Blue Storm in this season of KSL. It's a kind of a smaller 2-player map. And this could also open up another aggressive barracks opening for Leta if he wants to go for that again.
Do you want to... Let's see if he wants to risk that much again.
I mean, Heartbreak Ridge almost lived up to its name with that heartbreaking scout that didn't actually see the proxy racks. But
yes.
A beautiful defense to Modesty's credit. He did not die to that. It obviously wasn't like a BBS or something super crazy like that, but yeah, he did hold on through that. This is a 2-player map, so if you're going for an aggressive build, you can also do it because you know where your opponent spawns. Not the shortest of rush distances, but still the potential is here. And if you look at the overall stats, which are not all that exhaustive, it's pretty even in TVZ.
That's one of the newer maps, I would say. And of course, you know where the... and it actually comes back to us.
And it comes back to the players. And then back to us. And then back to the players.
Seems like we need some extra time. Maybe they're still working on that PP.
Now they're going to zoom out from our shirts. But we don't have those cool KSL sticker logos that Tasteless and Artosis have. So it would just be our colors on the screen. We are finally ready for the match, so let's go ahead and get into game number 2 between Leta and Modesty. And here we go. This is game number 2. Benzene is our map. Starting the bottom left-hand corner in the blue is Modesty. See him there on your screen. And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner in the red is Leta.
That's right. KSL's back, guys. Spread the word. Of course, we'll be having 1 week break for that BlizzCon main week. So we'll be going through all the way into December.
Is this perhaps, yet again, another SCV out on the map?
There can be lots of spots.
You don't say.
You can go all the way around.
Oh, wow. Shout out to the ABC Mart MSL. The last time that... Was that the last time these 2 players played?
Maybe.
I don't remember, but that is a very long time ago, so I appreciate the reference.
And there was a win rate with 2-star port.
Well, that is the style that Leta is most well known for in this matchup. Try number 2 here on the 8 racks, so we'll get a chance to see how effective this is. Obviously, it is a very aggressive way to start. I would say that seeing how Modesty defended this in
pull
game
first.
number 1.
Once again for Modesty. Just in case Leta does something fishy like that again.
Well, I mean, he is. So Modesty is going to be even more well prepared for this.
Yeah. He'll have Zergling just in time.
Yeah, the gas coming down means that we're going to see the factory. Where's the factory coming down here? Because I'm waiting for that also to be proxied, and then we just live the craziest life, right? But he's, of course, not going to do that. Just going to go into kind of a normal game after this. But putting on the pressure is something that Leta might think will go well, except that Modesty is totally well prepared.
Okay, delaying the hatchery, but he doesn't even have enough minerals anyhow, so that's not too bad as long as he can get it now. But okay, now it's being delayed a lot.
Yes. Second drone coming out, so the hatchery could go down.
But suddenly a marine appears from the wild.
Surprise! And the drones are pushed back, but the 4 Zerglings should pop out here pretty quickly. And that's not going to be enough to totally just deal with this push entirely. But if he wants to pull some extra drones, he could absolutely stop this in its tracks. I think he's just going to let it go.
No, this is a very good early lead for Leta. He's stopping that natural. He's got the bunker up there for a very, very long time. So Modesty, even though, look at the number of minerals, he has that much, but he just cannot make another hatch here.
What are you going to make with 500 minerals? Macro hatch in your main. No.
A Kerrigan. 500, that's a new... You have
this
to have
isn't
a
Warcraft
cheat,
3, G-Club. I can't do that. But you can one base lair, and so he is going to go into this. Maybe this is his plan all along. I wouldn't expect that, obviously, because he did bank so many minerals. And he still has that idle drone, which is not helping him out at all.
This is a tough one. I believe that was the second or the third Marine. It should be the second Marine, yes, it's already floating. So by the time he has about 8 Zerglings, he should break into it, because I think he got a good idea how many were in there.
And he is going to bust this pretty easily. I think there's only 2 Marines in there.
I saw 3 firing outside. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's 4. What? I did not actually expect there to be all 4 in there. But you're right, that was not the bust that he was looking for. And now actually 4 Marines is more Zerglings than there are on the map. There will more will spawn from these eggs here. But he's going to get behind the mineral line.
Yeah, this is the worst news. It may actually...
I think this is just going to do it.
Yeah, that's...
He can't mine anymore. Okay, he's going to build a spire.
Yeah, he has a lot of resources, and he can't really delay even further. That's why he's just making a spire right now, because he knows the backup units are coming very soon. But those Marines behind the mineral patch...
I mean, I guess maybe you drill, but nope, he's just going to try to take these Marines out. They are actually taken down much more easily than I would have expected.
And not enough minerals to make the hatchery. I think the drone was waiting for that 300 mark, but that was delayed by the Marines. So Leta in big lead. I would actually say 7-3 now.
Those are pretty accurate odds there, G-Clef. Vultures kill everything as long as they are controlled very well, and they are. And especially with the second Vulture here, even though the first one dies, second Vulture should be able to act with impunity. Obviously, it can't fight the sunken colony, but it can still be super annoying.
Yeah, it can actually kill a lot of drones before it finishes, and actually Spire's really far away from that sunken colony as well.
Oh, and there's a Wraith too. Oh my God. All right, well, Leta's just kind of running away with this game. He is killing it. And by it, I mean every Zerg unit that he comes across. So he is shutting down mining. He's taking down overlords. It might have been a little bit sloppy, but the victory is certainly Leta's at this point.
Spire, when it's built, he would love to make mutas, but because he was not able to mine for such a long time, he has to use all those larvas to basically make drones, so nothing else is coming out for the longest time for Modesty. Where Leta, he has everything going around. 1-1-1 here, and a bunch of SCBs. He could have just made another... He could have just went into the natural within that time, but he just wants to destroy Modesty right now. That's why he's just pouring out units.
Well, he's making cloaked rays, right? And there's nothing that Modesty has to deal with this. Maybe he has an Overlord or 2, but this is going to be like 2 or 3 pooled rays. So, I mean, does he really only have 5 drones? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drones on minerals. Ooh. This is going to be painful.
He made a few mutas because he had some extra resources because he could not make the second hatch.
I was going to defend against the vultures pretty well, right? Maybe they pick off another drone, but realistically, any drone that goes down here, oh wow, he actually saves all of his drones. That was really good. Oh, why do drones heal instantly 1 point of health when they take damage? So broken. Either way, when the mutas come across
I don't
the map,
have anything to say about Terran.
yeah. Okay, well said there. The bias is real. I didn't actually see him make any. So there's his second Wraith. Okay, so I thought he was going to go up to about 3. I think he's working on his 3rd right now. But especially when Cloak finishes, I mean, what do you do? The things that reveal cloaked units right now include, I think, a sum total of 3 Overlords. So, this is going to be a rough one.
Yeah, starts 7-18 into the game. Second hatch into the natural. Okay, that's a very late start, Modesty. But he's the man's trying.
Our observer is pointing out that there are several locations you could build maybe a spore colony in, but that's not going to be possible. Because obviously he doesn't have the tech that he needs. Wow. So here are those 3 rays that I mentioned earlier. And here are every drone dying. There's the Cloak, and there's the GG.
Should come soon.
Yes.
As that Overlord is really slow, of course, with very low resources.
I love how Leta's like, he's not BM, he's not just sitting the rays on top of the mineral line like he could. But I mean, that's just more than enough damage. There's just 0 economy here for Modesty.
When he pulls the Overlord back into the base.
I love how both players are just 1 base TVZ. This is really cool. You don't get a chance to see this very often, but it's kind of sick. And Leta actually could have gotten massive damage done there, but he respected the Overlord, even though it was actually pretty far away.
He has 1 there. Where's the other one at the natural, I guess?
Are we going to see the exact same game again? I mean, it's not going to look exactly the same, but
I think by now, Leta's just having fun. And this is best of 5, so he wants to destroy the opponent. It's actually better for him in terms of his psychological warfare here, to destroy your opponent so hard that you're just going to be in a better mood going into game 3.
Yeah, so Modesty, super bad economy at this point, and especially if this base comes down unharassed, and realistically it should. Leta's pretty rock solid on the other side.
What happened in game 1? Leta, of course, certainly he does know that he's super in favor still, and he knows, but he went for a command center very, very late into the game. And now Modesty, he's getting some drone numbers up, and the reason why Leta, I think he was not able to really pressure out with his troop and lost his timing. It's all about the timing, how you might macro around. Modesty, he's actually got somewhat of an air unit. If he can actually do a good amount of harass as Leta does, he may actually come back into the good. There's a chance, okay?
So you're saying
game's
there's
not
a
over
chance.
Unless you type.
Leta
unless you type A.
Double his opponent's supply, G-Clef. I mean, that's kind of what you would expect. It's not incredibly indicative, but like he's also got like a bunch of stuff that kills everything. I just want to see him do something with it, right?
I'm saying this because Leta should have finished the game already.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, maybe not finished the game, but dealt maybe more severe damage. Certainly now, he has the potential to move out and deal that damage, but I think he realizes economics is where he's probably
if Leta goes
ahead.
This slow when it's this far ahead into the game, the gap actually might close.
Well, he is
over
going
time
towards the exact same situation that we had in game 1.
Yes, see, just 1 vulture, he's trying to take the drones, but Sunken takes him out before going to the... Of course, he didn't even try going to the base this time.
I wish he were being maybe a little bit more active out there on the map. Obviously, waiting for Science Vessels is a great way to like really hammer home your air advantage.
Exactly.
But Leta never pulled the trigger in game number 1 until it was too late. And that was even after he was in a pretty good spot. So I'm just waiting to see what the play is here. And it looks like he's just pumping vessels at this point.
Look at the amount of SCVs on those mineral patches. There were like 3, 4 on one on the actual base.
Many. Oh, wow, he actually does get 1 to connect. That's pretty surprising. In the face of everything that's in the air there, defending even turrets and stuff.
It's not too many.
I don't really know what we're doing here. This is definitely not the way that your TVZs are used to looking. Maybe if you want to rewind about 10 years, then sure, maybe you see this a little bit more often. But this is kind of specific to watching two of these kind of old school players come back and play very much so their style. So even though our first series of the night was pretty one-sided, this one's actually pretty fantastic to watch because it is so different than what you're used to seeing.
To be honest, Rapid,
yeah,
I would not say this is a fantastic game. And
okay, well, there's different definitions of fantastic,
yeah.
right? If you are a
very negative fantastic,
if you are
I don't know if that exists in dictionaries.
If you are a technical professional player, right, you want to see very one-sided games from crisp builds being executed, or maybe very close games where both players are playing very well. But if you are a spectator, you want to see nukes. You want to see infested Terrans. You want to see things that are maybe not illustrations of a perfectly played game, but of an entertaining one. Okay. And so in that regard, this is a very good game.
Yes, of course. Entertainment, but what I want to see in competitive onto the other side.
Okay.
A finish about 6 minutes ago from Leta, but this is actually giving a lot of chance for Modesty. He's actually risking big time by expanding another one at 11, and it's just moving around the map, making sure is anything out. It seems way too weird. Like, you're winning the game this hard, and your entire troops actually nowhere around the map. What's happening? Like, Modesty, he's like, he has no clue what Leta is trying to do right now.
Well, Modesty's calling Leta's bluff, right? He's saying, look, you have to do something. If you're not going to do something, I will expand, I will play greedily, and he'll get ahead from it. There was a point in time where Modesty had only 5 drones mining and only 1 hatchery.
Yes.
And so this should be kind of the kill move. Last time around, actually, Leta had a bunch, Modesty had queens that ensnared everything and killed it all. He doesn't have that this time around. He has much, much less. And so this should be that killing blow we were expecting from Leta maybe a few moments ago. Is he going for the counter here? Oh, he's trying to catch the reinforcement ball, but it's a little bit further out there. And the scan actually perfectly picks those mutas.
Scan.
That's not in time. There's no Nidus. And I think this is what game 1 would have looked like if Modesty were much further behind.
Yeah, Leta actually makes a safe move as well. He goes for that 11 instead of going for anything else.
Okay, well, so there's about an irradiate for every single Mutalisk.
Yeah, I think he can just do that and kill everything
else.
Watch
Watch this. One more irradiate kills every Muta. That's it. That's GG. Modesty taps out, and Leta is able to use a very similar strategy to claim victory in game number 2. This is actually really cool. We're seeing a really different style from 2 of our newer players. Well, they're old school players, but they're new to KSL. And it's great to see them back here because they do have their own style. And it might have looked like Leta was kind of playing with his food there a little bit, but I think he was just really making sure that he did have what it took to win that game.
Yep. I know, Rapid, you are saying the right things, but I'm going to be the toxic one tonight.
Okay.
I'll be the toxic clash and say, I think Leta had a easier qualifying group out, and seems like he's making all the safe move, but we gotta take that break.
We'll be back in just a few with set 3.
박준호 선수 현재 포인트를 아직까지 본선에서는 1킬도 1승도 따내지 못하고 있고요. 아무래도 좀 쉽지는 않을 겁니다. 그리고 뭐 어제 경기를 봐도 그렇고 이제 앞으로도 계속해서 KSL의 선수들이 적응하기 시작하면서 1승 기록하기 쉽지는 않을 거예요. 자, 그리고 박성균 선수의 모습도 보이고 있고요.
해야 됩니다. 후속 병력이 합류를 해야 돼요.
자, 몰려들기
싸웁니다.
시작합니다. 중간에
앞뒤로 쌀싸먹기.
롤코 진짜 많죠. 롤코 진짜 많습니다.
와, 대승인데요, 박준호.
와, 대승이죠. 완전 대승이죠.
완전 대승 거뒀죠.
패스도 못 지킬 것 같아요.
자, 이러면은 박준호는 하이브까지 완성시켜서 지금 디파일러
디파일러
마운드
마운드
올라가고
있었거든요.
있었죠. 추가
예.
멀티까지 가능합니다.
안전하죠.
한번 더
그렇죠.
잡으면 가장 안전한 거. 근데
한 번 더 잡아먹기.
박준호가 알아요. 내가 지금 너무 상황이 좋다는 걸 알아서
병력 무지하게 많습니다. 다시 한번 버러우.
그냥 바꿔만 줘도 유리하다라고 판단을 하는 겁니다.
한 걸음 더 나가서서 뭐 버러우하기도 전에 변이.
와,
완전 대승.
네, 또 잡아먹었어요.
대승. 2차전 대승.
이러면 박준호 선수 이제 디파일러 나오고 뭐 투챔버 올리면서 업그레이드까지도
그쵸.
빠르게 따라갈 수 있고 그냥 와 럴커만 계속 찍습니다. 뭐,
디파일러 없이도.
네, 보통은 이러면서 이제 울트라 전환 뭐 이런 거
네.
생각하는데 그런 거 없어요. 그냥 럴커로 몰아붙이면서 상대에게 와, 압박감을 굉장히 심어줍니다.
진짜 구간이 명간이라고.
와,
다시
그리고
한번 다리를 끼고.
옛날 스타일로 잡아버립니다.
옛날 스타일.
진짜 옛날 스타일이죠. 예.
다수의 러커. 서구 유저들이라면
와.
시원한 장면. 자, 하지만 테란 아직 확정이 없어요.
진짜 말씀하신 것처럼 저그스러운 경기하고
예,
있어요.
맞아요.
그냥 쏟아 부으면서
국기복 시절.
그렇죠.
그쵸.
저희가 앞서
시절.
북기봉
네.
시사님 이야기를 해서 그런지 북기봉 스타일로 경기력 보여주고 있습니다.
그랬잖아요. 해철이지 저거는.
그렇죠. 와, 지금 그냥 병력으로 완전히 몰아붙이고 있고 박성균 선수가 수비만 해서 되는 상황이 아니라 수비를 하면서 만약 멀티가 돌아가고 있다 이러면 박성균도 괜찮을 수 있지만 지금은 추가적인 멀티 없는 상태에서 앞마당에서 짜내고 있고요. 앞서서 배럭 더블이 아니라 노배럭 더블로 출발을 했기 때문에 자원이 금방 말라요.
빨리 마르죠.
네.
자, 이게 들이닥칠 것 같은데요. 자원 떨어져 갑니다.
아, 그리고 지금 드랍십의 모습이 보이고 있긴 합니다만은 물론 항상 저그전에서 드랍십은 변수를 줍니다. 근데 그 변수를 줄 때 가장 이상적인 그림은 테란이 센터를 잡고 있을 때, 테란이 센터를 잡고 드랍십으로 흔들 때 빛을 발하지 지금처럼 병력에서 밀리면
못 나가요.
드랍십도 큰 효과를 보기 힘들어요.
드랍실 빠져나간 병력 자체가
야,
손실이었어요.
디파일러까지
왔어요.
왔어요.
아, 그 점이 여기 뭐 일부
지금
빠져-
병력이 너무 많아서
많아가지고.
버로가 어디 돼 있는지도 모를 정도로 박준호가 좋습니다.
자, 다크섬도 많이 훅훅훅 쳐지고 있습니다. 다시 따라붙기 시작하거든. 스커지는 뭐 요경기
네.
떨어졌습니다만 이미 여기까지 장악을 해버렸어요, 저그가.
네, 그리고 박성균 선수는 이게 끝이 아닙니다. 이 이후에 가스가 돌아가면서 울트라까지 준비가
네.
되어가는 상황이기 때문에
아, 예.
멀티도 없는 박성균 선수 입장에서는 진짜 힘들어졌어요.
방위업도 됐죠, 저그가.
자, 옥죄 오고 있는 박준호 선수의 다수의 병력입니다. 드랍십.
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 이게 변수를 만들 수 있는
뼈를 쳐야 되는데 자신의 뼈가 쳐질 수 있어요, 잘못하면.
자, 하나씩 내리네요. 근데 말씀드렸던 것처럼 센터를 저그가 잡고 있어서
예.
그냥 병력이
따라붙었어요.
따라 붙으면 막을 수 있거든요. 사실 드랍십을. 이건 잡히고요.
못 내.
자,
네, 그래도 박성균 선수는 본인이 이길 수 있는 활로를 본인 스스로 지금 찾아내려고 하는 겁니다.
예. 자, 그럼 다크.
네,
머리들.
야, 없어져요, 마린들.
네.
갈 데가 없어요, 마린들이.
진짜 말 그대로 갈 데가 없고 12시 날린 건 좋지만 드론이 지금 또 찍혔죠. 여유가 넘칩니다 지금 박준호 선수는.
자원이 남고
네.
있고요, 박준호 선수. 그리고 저글링들이 드랍십을 쫓아다니고 있어요, 하늘을 보면서.
네, 이렇게 드랍십이 흔들어 주면서 본대 병력이 뭔가를 해줘야 되는데 본대 병력의 숫자가 너무 초라합니다. 할 수 있는 게 없습니다.
그래서 죽으나 사나 지금 네시 쪽으로 병력을 좀 뻗쳐보고 있는데 러커가 중간에 다시
그래도
맞기를 만들어요.
그래도 박성균이 조금이나마 희망을 갖자면 배슬이 아직 많이 살아있다는 거.
그래요?
네. 요걸로 뭔가 계속 활약을 좀 해줘야 되고요. 가장 첫 번째는 일단 멀티를 가져가야 될 것 같습니다.
네, 지금
이제는,
이제 본진 자원 다 말랐고
그렇죠.
거진
아,
말랐을
일자리-
거로 보이는데
네.
일자리 잃었어요, SB.
배럭 더블이었으니까 같이 마를 수밖에 없지
그러니까요.
않습니까?
배슬이 남아있기 때문에라고
네.
말씀하셨죠.
네.
변수는.
네.
자, 근데 울트 아유.
GG.
GG 선수 진짜 오랜만에
네.
아까 말씀해 주셨잖아요. 박준호라는 이름을
Welcome back, everybody, to the KSL Group D. We are in our second best of 5 watching Leta and Modesty, two old school players come back into their first offline performance against each other in a long time and play some weird games, G-Clef.
It feels like we're back in the early 2010s or 2012-ish.
I mean, we can rewind it maybe a little bit further back than that. I mean, these guys
like
go...
Gibong days?
Maybe not. BSG, the boy, was a little bit back there. But for most of these players playing Leta and Modesty, I think their peak kind of came in like 2008, 2009. There was actually a point where Leta had, I think, the best or second best Terran win rate in Pro League. He was just killing it. Modesty, I think it was 2008, made it to the quarterfinals of a Star League, beating Cal. 2008-9 were these players like peak, the zenith of their performance. And then, you know, the previous era of Brood War ended. They both went to the military. And so it's been a while for both of our players, but they're coming back, and they're having a pretty close series against each other.
Yeah, we gotta have when we have new players with different styles. This is what we have. It's a little refreshing of what happened before, but certainly I think they have to pick up to the new meta, the pace of the new meta. If it comes in the later matches, that would be great, but they're not knocked out instantly after tonight's match. So maybe they can get some speed upgrades.
So basically just like you and I, right? You have to have new casters and give them a chance. We're not knocked out immediately after this phase. We get more chances. I see some parallels here, G-Clef. This is Fighting Spirit. You might notice precisely a billion games have been played here. So I'm excited to see our two old school players play against each other on perhaps one of the most old school maps. And I think this is where they will feel most at home. Maybe we're going to see some more 2-port Wraith. Chances are we'll get another 8 racks out of Leta. I don't know what to expect, but it's been a little bit weird so far. So maybe Modesty's going to make some adjustments here. Maybe he'll get off of one base before the 8-minute mark. Let's find out as we get into game number 3. And here we go. The map is Fighting Spirit. It's Modesty versus Leta, and no, this is not 2009. This is 2018, and we still have these two players playing against each other.
Yep, we're gonna have Leta. 5 o'clock Terran base here. Has very defensive Terran, and one of the most defensive Terran I would say I've seen in the couple years before, in the recent couple years.
Yeah, I think defensive is kind of putting it lightly there, G-Clef.
Too passive.
He's like we could call him like the Pharaoh Terran, because he's kind of embalmed in his base. He like gets wrapped up deep inside of there. His organs are perfectly preserved. But eventually you got to break out of the pyramid and go ravage the countryside. You feel me? So maybe
you can't just win StarCraft if you're never attacking.
Well,
you can find a good timing after having a good defense, but if you never attack, you can never win, basically.
Well, you know what they say, G-Clef. The best defense is a good offense. So Leta's back out there again with the 8 racks.
3 out of 3. Let's see how Modesty goes. 4.
Hey, at least he's
pull
consistent,
first again,
right? I mean, face is the place, so we'll find out if Leta can do it again. Because this did deal critical damage to Modesty in game number 2.
Okay, pull first.
Yeah, so that's going to be a 12 pool from Modesty. You know, honestly, I don't...
that's actually a nice one when this is going on around the map.
Yeah, but what else do you do with a 12 pool? Okay, all right. Well, if Modesty wants to build a natural expansion at any point, that will not go well. But, I mean, are we just going to see a repeat of game number 2? Are we stuck in Caster Brood War Groundhog Day, G-Clef? Do we watch the same games over and over again?
We'll see some difference coming out soon. I think Modesty is about to make some changes here.
Well, now Modesty has the hardest, or Leta has the hardest choice of all, right? He built a barracks in the middle. He scouted one direction, and when these Marines pop out, he has to make a choice. Where does he send them?
Okay, he's going for that right direction, though.
If Modesty had spawned in the upper right-hand base, Leta is just the...
Yeah, because that overload could not have been all the way from that 1 o'clock. It's way too early, I think.
Well, I mean, the hatchery obviously doesn't have the vision to see too far, but he will know that the jig is up at this point. And this time around, he's pulling a lot more drones to hold this off.
Yeah, only 2 Marines, and he knows that Zerglings are coming soon. Okay, the third one. Let's see the timing for this bunker.
He's actually going to force the fight here. 1 drone going down, 2nd drone going down, pulling the Marines backwards. Pretty decent control, but this will be held, albeit with a couple of drone losses.
Yeah, maybe with a 2nd SCV from Leta, it was possible to finish it, but way too many Zerglings. That's the power of... I guess this is the power of the pull first before they hatch. The normal build will be, of course, will be the hatch first. That's a safety, that's a rich Zerg if you start in this way. Unless you, of course, you did defend against what Leta was trying to do this time, but you end up starting very poor if you do this all the time.
Well, I mean, no counter damage will be done thanks to walls being good things to have. For Leta, he gets defended this time, so this actually is going to look a little bit more like game number 1. But I'm actually gonna, I'll bet that we see exactly the same situation where Leta turtles up, builds a bunch of Valkyries, eventually expands, eventually transitions into SK, or it's not even really SK, lots of bio with science vessels, and pushes out and gets ensnared. Well, I don't know if we're going to see ensnare again, but that should be the blueprint for this game.
Let's see the amount of... There's that double starport.
Okay, all right. I'm digging it.
Okay, signature move is being made.
This is his signature move. So we're going to see a lot of rays here, and theoretically comboed with that would be Cloak soon thereafter. But the idea is that it's going to be about control. This is a little bit like when Protoss go for double Stargate against Zerg. It's supposed to give you a really, really strong chance at beating the air battle. And that's something that we've seen Leta be pretty hesitant. Oh, no! What are those doing there? Well, that's not great. So theoretically, at this point, maybe you throw down a macro hatch and just mass up a bunch of Hydras. Turns out those do pretty well against Rays. I don't know what the correct response is here because I'm honestly just not very used to seeing this style.
He has 2 hatch up, so he has a lot of larva available. He would like to go for the 3rd hatch, but right now he's got to just make a lot of mutas after the Spire.
Yeah.
He can wait for that time because the starport was not done. Of course, it's 2. There can be a lot of air units coming out soon, but Modesty, I don't think he really is a player that would just mix it with a combo with Hydra list all of a sudden.
How much anti-air exists in the game right now, G-Clef?
Yeah, 0.
That's going to be a 0, yeah. Is the gas down at the Natural? No.
Yeah, no Evo.
Are there any mutas in the game?
Now.
No. Are all these drones going to die? I think that's going to be a yes. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a yes. Well, this is why Leta pioneered this style, right?
Yeah, Scourge should be coming out soon. And that was the timing. I think Modesty should have just pulled the drone back.
Yeah. I mean, he scouted it perfectly. He knew exactly what to expect, right? So that's one of the reasons that this is really good. Now, obviously, if your opponent's going for like a Hydra build here, you're not going to have a bunch of fun. But it is mutas, and they're going to be coming out in low numbers. So I'm guessing Leta's going to be pretty okay with this. Obviously, he doesn't have the turrets up that he needs, but he should have pretty... okay, how many turrets does he actually have? I think he only has that 1.
Yeah, the 2nd one's being made.
Yeah, so he only has the 1 turret. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe you get across the map with like the max, that would be like 6 mutas, right? A little bit optimistic with so much drone damage. But with the damage that he did deal to the drones, I feel like that gives him just an almost critical advantage. He's going to be pumping double rays. He'll have 6 by the time these mutas get over here.
I think he's also pumping a Valkyrie. One should be connecting soon because he's going up against... He knows that he's against mutas that they're coming soon. Only 1 setup Scourge he has seen, so he's expecting at least like 5 to 6 mutas by now.
Well, he did get Overlord speed as well, which kind of hurts when you're trying to put all your gas into mutas, but you definitely need it against Cloaked Rays. I didn't actually see the control tower blinking, so I'm not sure if we actually have that tech just yet. But you're right, the Valkyrie should be coming out pretty soon to win specifically that matchup. My thing is, like, I haven't seen Leta, like, ever leave his base before, like, 12 minutes. So...
Unless it's an air unit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yes.
sometimes not even then. Okay.
They're just on a patrol mode for a long, long time.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a lot of
Okay.
Wraith gathered up. Against Muta, not too bad.
This is the weird part of the game for me, G-Clef. Like, I'm used to seeing Brood War. This is the I feel pretty confident that I could probably play this style. You know, you look up at their the upper right-hand corner and you see like 400 APM. I'm like, where's that APM going? Like, you got one base.
It's
like,
all about that land clicking, just making sure how many drones you have, catching the minerals.
Do I still have the
Clicking on
same
that 8?
number of drones? Yep, same number of drones. Brief supply block with a pickoff of the Overlord. And there's actually 2 more Overlords up here that he's going to kill instantly. Ooh, well, that's the bonus zone. He's going to take out 2 Overlords. He's got 40. Modesty's got 43 out of 34 supply. There's the cloak.
That's why he has an Overlord with them, but he already lost 2, I believe.
How many raids does he have? I think he actually has enough to 2-shot Overlords.
That's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, so he actually could have made a big move there. As is, he's going to snipe another Overlord here if he comes down and takes this one out. And that's going to supply block Leta again, Modesty again if he takes it out. So this is the move, right? And yeah, it was no Valkyrie. He's just going for straight up Raze.
Wraith. I knew that was his style, but he doesn't usually make this many this early into the game.
So the games that I've seen, he actually does just power Raze for a bunch. And the previous games, obviously, he did go for that Valkyrie. And I guess that was because he only had, I think, the start with 1 starport. But now he's going up to critical Wraith Mass. And I think at this point, Modesty, once again, has had his 2-hatch Muta completely stifled.
And this kind of moment where you just see a lot of Wraith. If you see like 3-4 Wraith, your Zergling can be somewhat powerful. But when there are that many Wraith, even your Zerglings will actually melt.
Anything melting to Wraiths means that something went wrong for you in the game.
Seems pretty good in this kind of situation.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But Modesty is not. Okay, there's a Queen again.
Yeah, so Modesty
Snare.
likes the Queen play. I think it's always cool to see Queens just because you don't get that opportunity too often. And hey, if Modesty wants to put it down, I'm excited to see the potential. Man, this is
how
just...
many more Wraith is he going to make?
Oh, is there any? It's like this is the Pringles Terran, right? Once you pop, the fun don't stop. He's just all Raze all the time. What? That was the worst. Oh my God, he cloaked and uncloaked instantly.
He should be glad that it didn't. the 2-hit didn't even go into a single target. Hit into both. Okay, Leta's making. Okay, Leta's expanding, but again, this very slow timing. So Modesty actually having a good control around the map, very similar to how we have seen this matchup game 1, game 2.
This is exactly the same thing from Leta. The only thing different is that he went out on the map and killed 2 Overlords, and he's like, wait a second, I'm way too far away from my base at this point. Let me just pull back home, build a bunch of barracks, get some supply or some science vessels out, and do exactly the same thing again. So the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And I think this is going exactly the same way that Game 1 did. He's going to try to push out after this. Obviously, he has more Rays and no Valkyries. But I mean, Ensnare's a pretty good spell when you have lots of units clumped up.
Totally. And
I love how Modesty isn't changing his build at all.
yeah, same for Leta.
Yeah.
He's not really doing too much. He actually has a lot more air units, so late vessel, but one could irradiate onto that chunk of Muta.
Is he
will be
building
good enough?
Double Evo chambers behind this? I think he is. So that's a little bit. Man, we are just seeing the weirdest games I've seen in a while. I love it from a spectator point of view. As far as which one of these players is most likely to beat last in this group, I don't know. I feel like he's watching this and sort of tenting his fingers like Mr. Burns style, or like, you know, stroking the hair of a fluffy white cat because he is the evil super mastermind.
Yeah, I think he's watching this game and cutting his nails at the same time. I think that's the feeling that I would get.
He's gonna take a vacation to like Antarctica and just ask if he can play online to play these the winners match. I don't know.
Okay, Leta's actually going out because he has a lot of air control. He knows how many mutas are kind of out there, but still, he's got a big chunk of bio. He's sniping onto Overlord, could be critical.
Well,
supply block for now.
He can one-shot Overlords with that number of rays. Oh, look at that! The ensnare! You can't stealth from that! There's an irradiate, but it just doesn't even matter. Now, thankfully, there's a bunch of bio here, so the rays have something to fall back to, but that was a huge moment. That ensnare is nasty.
Wow.
Literally and figuratively, that is just not what you want to see on your rays. And granted, the time that it lasts is not extensive, but it is enough to force Leta to fall back.
That's why this is already a timing. He should have had lurkers already, but instead he put a lot more into the mutas because a lot of Wraith could be dangerous once he had Hydras, which can be moving over because Wraith are actually so much faster. Of course, can go around all the terrains all the time, sniping onto Overlords. Can be a pretty painful one if you don't have the right macro work. You're just gonna waste Hydra lists just moving them around. Wraith will always get the right snipe onto the Overlords. So I think that's might be the reason why Modesty is taking this approach.
I mean, it's the same approach that he took in game number 1, and he won that one. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose, is his methodology.
Yeah, lots and lots of Marines. This could actually be okay. With no lurkers, no defilers there, I did not see any. Some ultras, but when they get the armor upgrade, these Marines will not do the same amount of damage.
Pointing out that once again, that is not a greater Spire. There are some opportunities for you to go that tech if you want to play like super air, but we are kind of transitioning past that. Although that's still 2 control groups of mutas, so wow, this is, like I said, just a very strange way to play. But we haven't seen either player really make any huge pushes out on the map.
Yes.
As soon as Leta pushed out and got ensnared, he instantly shrinks right back into his hole.
He's playing snail here. He tries to come out from the house, and he touches something or he sees something, he goes back to his house.
Yeah, it's like antennas on a slug.
Okay, having some scans. You want to make that safe exit from your base. You don't want to lose too much, but you know that Modesty has a lot of mutas. Of course, you have a lot of defensive turrets there, but without lurkers, it's actually easier to move out. And Leta's, I think, being a little bit too slow in this game as well.
Yeah, at no point in this game are we going to see Hydra Tech. What is a Hydra Den and what does it do? Modesty has no idea.
Okay. Only the armor upgrades.
That was a pretty easy split. Pretty good. Well done there by Modesty. How many science vessels do we have? I think it's just 3 right now. But that number is going to climb. The upgrades are going to start coming through.
Okay, soon we're going to have maxed out army just clashing in the middle. I think that's what we're waiting for.
Are we going to get to 200 supply off of 2 bases for Terran? I mean, yeah, sure, maybe. Only 50 supply away. Can Leta build a 3rd command center? Only time will tell, G-Clef.
It's all about efficiency. Let's let us slowly approaching around, and usually this is not a normal TVZ game. If you guys go back and watch what we have from Larva Sharp, those are the normal TVZ. What we have a lot like lurkers, muta harass onto SCVs, going around the base all the time.
All right, so some scouting Zerglings see exactly where Leta's army is. There's still a queen out there with ensnares, so he's going to have to watch out for his raids count. The mutas are actually in a different position than maybe Leta expects, so they're going to try to come around from behind with a massive amount of ultras. Oh, shnikes, that's a lot. The ensnare goes down. It doesn't catch the raids, but it does catch a lot of the bio in the back, but the ultras are actually piling through the middle. Is the bio enough to take this out? I don't think so. I think that ensnare is just too good.
It actually caught a lot, and ultras... They're taking down.
I think the raids just kill everything, though, right?
But the mutas were actually not really targeting onto one that was basically not focused well by Modesty. I think Modesty has a lot of chance with those mutas to actually snipe onto a lot more Marines.
Are we going to watch raids kill max upgraded ultras? I mean, this is like the Freedom of Information Act Rays versus the MK Ultralisks. Here comes the Eraser. Oh, man, this is just so sick to watch. So Leta is actually going to take out at least the natural, and I don't think Modesty has a plan B after this.
A drill drop. No.
I'm watching Leta win with 2 Starport mass Rays in 2018. So a 12-year-old me would be so happy right now. So I think he just turns around and kills all of this. I mean, there were no Overlords there, so he couldn't kill the Cloaked Rays. But Leta's still going to go back home after dealing a crazy amount of damage. Okay. All right.
This worries me about my childhood. One of my favorite player, Modesty.
Yeah?
Just not having the best control. Of course, you do have to think about the irradiate. That's the first thing.
Does Leta even have a 3rd command center being built? Is that in his future? I don't think so. 9 kills on one of those Rays, pointing out that there are some MVPs in Leta's Air Force.
Okay, he wants to have
A
another
captain
crushing blow with a lot more vessels this time. So he knows that he won the last fight. He's gonna win another one.
Can I make some bold predictions about our 4th game in the series?
Yes, the next game.
I think it might look somewhat similar to this one. And Irradiated Ultra actually goes down basically instantly to that amount of bio. And look at these Irradiates on the mass mutas. There's not going to be any snare this time around.
He can irradiate each one of those mutas and take him down.
He can irradiate the Rays and just run those through. That's going to do it. Leta takes game number 3 to go up 2-1 in this very interesting series. I'm allowed to use the word interesting there because that's just plain what it is, G-Clef. If you had asked me before, maybe you can read the Liquipedia article and say, well, Leta likes 2-port Rays. But that line in that text was written 10 years ago, G-Clef. And so to see him so iconically go back to that same build gives every player on the ladder who only knows how to do one build a little bit of extra hope that they too could sometimes play in an offline Star League.
What Leta needed to get out of that base was the confidence. With that confidence level, well, if you go back to what you're comfortable with, the build that you know the best, that you were successful a long time ago, you can still pull it off. But he's against Modesty. I don't know if he can pull that off against any other Zerg that's in the tournament. But he has certainly done that in Game 3. Maybe it's going to be an easier or at least an earlier approach into the center of the map on the next game.
Leta, you can tell he's like gingerly pushing out of his base. He's like, can I win now? Between games 2 and 3, somebody texted him that Tiny Cactus of encouragement gif. It's like Tiny Cactus believes in you. It's supposed to be like very inspirational or something like that. Maybe it's some other like encouragement meme or whatever it took to get him to actually move his Rays out. He's like, all right, I killed 3 Overlords. Time to go back home. Oh, wait, everything in my army counters everything in my opponent's army. But what if I got to 160 supply off 2 bases and then moved out? It's some strange games, so we're making a few jokes about it, but it is exciting to see these players play some unique play styles that are very iconic. And just like their play styles, the maps that they're playing on are going to be equally iconic. Fighting Spirit into Circuit Breakers.
Yep. I don't recall exactly what they have banned out.
Neither does Jaehoon.
All this.
Never going to get old. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the 5th map would be. We might not even make it there. This is going to be Circuit Breakers. Like I said, it's another very iconic map, very, very old school. And if you look at the league record, it might look a little bit skewed in Terran's favor. A lot of that Splash, but suffice it to say, +1 5 racks was very popular on Fighting Spirit and Circuit Breakers. And I think we might, if Leta wants to go for a different style, Bio would be kind of the way to go, but I think we're just going to see a repeat of every other game in the series, G-Clef.
I want Modesty. If he's just going to go pull hatch, this massive Zergling rush into Leta. I think that can actually work in this matchup.
We'll see if anything's changed or if it remains the same as we get into game number 4 between Leta and Modesty. Okay, G-Clef, take it away.
Hey, Rapid. Got Modesty. Of course, at 7 o'clock here.
Yep, that's him. He was like one of the super adorable kids back in the day. He's grown up a little bit. And there is Leta. His builds are maybe a little bit antiquated, but because he's so good at them, they at least work up to the standard for this matchup. I do wonder, like I said, what it's going to look like when the winner of this matchup goes up against Last. Maybe for Leta, I honestly think he might have the best chance just because he used to be such a good TBT player. If Modesty goes up against Last, I don't know how well that's going to work out.
Hey, Rapid, what do you think will happen if Modesty... Okay, finally...
Wait, is that a supply depot before Barracks?
Yeah, before he has an SCV out. So it seems like he's going for the normal build. And also, what if Modesty also goes for a hatch first? 12 hatch, and then pull.
Crazy.
No, never mind.
Never. Okay. It's another. This is a 9 pool from Modesty, so even earlier than the 12 pool he did last game. This is not what I would expect, but it's also not what I would expect from Leta either. So his barracks now built inside his base. What is he doing? I say that sarcastically because he's 8 racks every game this series. So maybe that's the mind game, right?
The mind game. He's tried it twice. So that is actually, I would personally say, a win in the starting build for Leta, because that mind game Modesty just thinking, okay, he might actually do another proxy. Who knows? So I'm going to start pull first, late hatch.
Yep. 9 pool into, I think that was 11 hatchery, along with gas coming through. And Leta's setting up for what I guess is a 1-1-1 start to him. Or maybe the rare 1-1-2 with the double starport Wraith like we saw him do in the previous game, which was actually really cool. That gave me sick nostalgia chills. Not quite the implementation I'm used to seeing from it, but it worked in a very iconic way. So that at least was pretty cool.
Yeah, Modesty, of course, with that SCV coming out. And he has a good idea.
Annoying Marine going to push back that Overlord. The Lings should try to annoy the Scout. But once again, this is kind of weird to see. He went 9 pool into 6 Lings. I don't know if he's going to get any damage done. Really great defense here by Leta, pulling the SCVs to block the ramp. He's just rock solid against, even if this was all 6 Lings running forward, Leta wouldn't take any damage.
Yeah, he's blocking his own entrance there as well, so only 4 available here. But once the second hatch is done, you can just mass produce all those Zerglings.
Modesty goes pool first into 2 hatch Muta every single game. I think you got to vary your strats a little bit here. I mean, granted, Modesty's got to be super happy that he's not being 8 racks this game, but I don't know what the best case scenario is here for him. I mean, I guess denying that Scout's got to be pretty helpful.
Yep, but you should have some idea from that Zergling timing that it was pull.
Oh my god!
And then hatch. Okay.
Here it is, the 1-1-2. Flash, you think you're so innovative?
He's great.
Building 1-1-1? No, this is the next level. And Leta is truly one of the only players to really do this. That is a sunken colony. It will stop the Vulture. It will stop these rays, that's for sure. And wow, this is, you guys are going to get your fill of this build. You might never see it again, so you know you got to take.
And do not try this at home.
Oh, yeah.
Do not try
that
this
almost goes
anywhere.
without saying.
Not even if you come to Korea.
No, that is not. This is not a safe, not safe for ladder. That's what this build is. Here comes the Spire.
Okay, we have a Hydra list in.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay, what is that, Modesty? Did he misclick? I'm not sure. He found out what this was. He's like, wait, I've never built that building before. I wonder what that does. Wait until he finds out you can build lurkers from it. Oh my god. Well, if he does go lots of Hydras, obviously that's kind of a good way to deal with Rays.
Yes.
Although
certainly
eventually
he will at least keep his Overlords a lot safer.
Theoretically. I still don't know what to expect from this because this is just the weirdest CVT I've ever cast. So, but it's a lot of fun. And here come the first few Rays. There's the control tower on the way. So Cloak will be coming up here momentarily, and I'm excited, Chiclef.
In what way?
How dare you call me out on my ambivalent reaction?
Oh, yes. We'll see. You got no souls on that reaction. 2 Wraith. Okay. They can do some damage because they're so much faster than what Hydralisk can move. Even with the movement speed, they can just run them out.
Watch him only ever build 2 Hydras this game, G-Clef. He's like, how much do I need to defend my bases? Like, maybe 1 per base? Yeah, I'll just get 1.
Cloak again?
Yeah. I mean, that's just sort of the and one. If you're going to commit this heavily to going for raids, you kind of got to get the cloak.
Yes, it is a cheese, and if you get nothing out of your cheese, that's even worse. So I think he's trying to go for the original strategy, what he has gone for, and he has 1 more game to go. He's up 2-1.
You know, for Leta, I don't even think this is a cheese. This is a way of life. This is, I mean, you look underneath like the back, like the Leta's lower back, and he's got like a stamp that just says, you know, Wraiths for life. But the word Wraiths is misspelled, and it's the number 4 instead of the word 4. And he thinks he's super cool, and it really just like identifies. I don't know. It's not a phase. Certainly not for Leta, who has been doing this remarkably consistently. Yeah, that's 5 Wraiths. Okay.
But you're not going to find any Overlords outside the base.
Did he really only build 2 Hydras?
I think he has a lot more in the base, like at least 2-3 more. Or at least there should be at least a few more.
Wait until they say hello to my little friend 6 Wraiths showing up in your base. Is that 5 or 6? I think it's still 5, but he should have a couple more coming out. Earliest third we've seen from Modesty so far. Also, this is the least pressure he's taken because of no 8 racks. But here comes these raids, and I think it's going to coincide pretty well with the cloak timing coming in, or at least it should. I think he's going to wait for the next couple to pop out, but I don't know what to say.
No,
I mean,
he knows around the base there will be a lot of Overlords, so that's not the time you're going to use that cloak. You're just going to be wasting your energy. So outside of that base, if you run into Mutalis, I think that's the time where if you want to just snipe on the Overlord outside the base, he just wants to save up that energy because I don't think he has like.
Yeah, well, this plays a little bit like I said, like Double Stargate does for Protoss versus Zerg, in that the idea is that if you kill enough Overlords and deny that detection, your Cloak Rays will kill everything else. So what is that? Yeah, that's the Evo Chamber, and here come the Cloak Rays on in here. Now, there is an Overlord, but that's going to get 2-shot, and he can kill actually off a couple of free mutas here as well. Yeah, so he just takes the muta of opportunity. If he can 2-shot Overlords, and there's no Overlord speed, there is actually Overlord speed. So actually, this could be the big moment. He's trying to outrun the Overlord, and he just barely is able to.
And he, on the way, he spot the third as well.
Wait, what is Modesty doing? He doesn't have an Overlord with those mutas. Oh, I think he's trying to chase him into the Overlord that's in the upper right.
Maybe that's his strategy.
That's not how it works, though. Like, the Cloaked Raids dictate the air control.
Oh, he has a lot of Overlords, and with that speed that Wraith actually has.
Yeah, but there's 4 more Wraiths here.
Like, he might be losing a lot of mutas. On top of that, all the Overlords as well.
Leta could kill that. Like, he could actually just A-move into that muta ball.
This is a pretty entertaining one we're watching here. It's with the turret helping out a little bit, and he actually sniped onto the SCV as well. He's losing a lot. If he loses any more.
Leta, go win the game. Oh my. Okay, so there is more coming, and obviously he doesn't want to overextend. But he could click on Modesty's base right now. I don't feel like I'm making an aggressive call in that regard. I feel like that's 6 mutas versus about 25 Wraiths, 36, something like that. Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, when you have this kind of match.
Look at how many Wraiths that is.
He does have.
Okay, it's only 8. Never mind.
A lot of the Overlords were sniped, so that's a lot of wasted minerals. But still, you need to be making some Scourge around this to take out some Wraith. Of course, they can be wasted, but if you have a lot of them. Okay, good snipes from Wraith's side, so Leta certainly winning this fight.
Yep, he sure is there, G-Clef.
Really having good control of the range in between. Like, Leta's getting his full shot all the time. Marty's getting like half of his muta shots around those Wraiths.
Actually, kind of surprised that he's not unclumping his Wraiths to repair them, because he does have some SCVs floating right underneath them, and that's a cool way to heal them faster than the mutas heal for sure. Oh, I think he actually is repairing them right now, so sweet. Now, there is a third base for Modesty, right? So this isn't the same 2 hatch mutas he was just really, really hammering home in the previous games. But man, look at Leta go. He's sure got those raids productions going on. But I think he is actually he's either transitioning to a Valkyrie or starting to get that science vessel count up. So we are going to see a very similar game to the ones before, but there are some variations this time around.
Yeah, Leta is known for some tech switches in the middle of the games, and because he has a lot of air units that's just outside of his base, so far away. He is once again the Queen. Okay, he has been making very slow second command center, but this game it's actually a little faster than before because he has the air control, a lot of it at least.
Yeah, that is true. We're seeing the same kind of game plan from Leta. He's not going too far afield from what he did in game number 2, or game number 3 rather. The difference this time around is that he didn't 8 racks, didn't put that early pressure on, and so for Modesty, he's actually up a base compared to where he was in the last game. Yeah,
Queen's actually very good, not just to slow them. It could just be, it could reveal them without the Overlord when you just ensnare all the cloaked ones.
That's a big deal.
But you got to put it down before you get sniped. I think that Quinn will be the first target to go.
Picking off an Overlord. A little bit of bonus.
Random Overlord around the base. Okay, that's nice for Leta.
There's actually Overlords kind of spread in very vulnerable positions around the map. So if Leta wants to go hunting, he could absolutely find those. But to some extent, the raids are really the big thing deterring this massive amount of mutas. So what you do is you go and snare the SCVs so that they are then slower at
mining.
Nah,
how about turn them into broodlings and then make them attack each other?
Yeah. Wow, that's a great strategy idea there, G.
That's what we have from the AIs, right?
I mean, it's almost as good as some of the other strategic concepts that we've been exploring during this series. But to be honest, not only is this kind of cool to see, but it's interesting to see sort of variations on a theme, right? You get the same basic builds, but different ways to approach them in each game. Once again, maybe somebody needs to send Leta some inspirational tweets. Maybe DM him.
Well, Modesty made the Hydralisk then, but because it's so air focused, he's just making a bunch of mutas. Now he sees that there's some bio. Should be seeing some lurkers soon, and I believe I heard the Parasite going down somewhere.
So, how many barracks does Leta have? I think he's got like 8 barracks.
Supply blocked again.
Like a lot. And he's still only on 2 bases, so man, Leta knows how to play the style better than anyone else I've ever seen. Let me put it that way. No upgrades as well on this bio. I think we're waiting for that +1 timing, obviously, but it's not here yet for sure. So Modesty's getting straight back into that Ultra Tech. There's the +1. All right. Sick timing there, Observer. And so that's going to make this very potent. He snipes the Overseer. There's the Irradiate. Nice split there, but the snare does come down. One just barely makes it back. I think you still call killing Queen's Regicide, right?
Yeah.
Or is that just killing the King?
The Queens fly on StarCraft 1, man.
How broken is that, man?
They have a lot of spells.
As soon as this broadcast ends, the WCS Global Finals for StarCraft 2 start, by the way, guys. So if you want to watch some queens that don't fly or have forgotten how to do that, then stick around after the show. We've got a whole different way to play coming up.
That's what you want to do. You want to have that down onto all the wraiths so they're slower, but we knew that the wraith will be sniping onto the queens instantly. And that's what happened. At least he had one more available right after that Overlord. So Leta's actually, I think his micro is getting better as the game goes longer. Where Modesty actually, he's falling apart a little bit too much. Well, he lost a lot of Overlords in this game.
The problem for Leta is he hasn't gotten a 3rd base up, and he's on 1,000,000 racks with tons of bio out here. In general, you kind of want to put that to use. Okay, now we're finally starting a command center. But we'll see if this ensnare hits again, and it will. Oh my god, that actually catches everything. All these raids are going to die here, and the bio should come in here to try to save this, but oh my god. Okay, that's a lot of damage. Ooh. So basically an even trade is what I'm trying to say, Chico.
Yeah, that was...
not quite.
Actually, well, the mutas will be healed back over in time, so I think Modesty in that fight got a little more, but still this big bio chunk of units will be a problem. That's why Modesty is going to bring out this good old Ultras. He has his 4th expansion. He's going to get a lot of economy going around.
It's
so
not
he
even
has
Ultra Ling. It's just pure Ultra. I didn't even know this composition existed. So we're going to see Ultra Muta.
That's a lot. With Mutas, if you can just snipe onto those Marines, they will melt down.
I mean, they sure will, but I don't know if that's going to be realistically expectable. My problem is that, I mean, Leta is staying on 2 bases. This just for basically forever.
Terran staying on 2 bases, like, they can't stay there forever, but that's what you have unless you...
Yeah, but...
Of course, Leta is playing a lot slower than the other Terrans, what you see.
Yes.
And it's not the normal mech where because he's not really building into tanks and all that stuff too much, which in this matchup, I don't think it's... Well, it's still a good one, but a lot of bio where he's going to be pushing out, and then he's going to have a slower approach into the game.
Yeah, but he's going to get... is that a Parasite? Yeah. Yes. So he's parasiting that
extra vision
vessel, and he should actually just kill this off so he doesn't give consistent vision there.
Yeah, you can have medic.
Oh, wait. No way he cleansed that with a medic.
Yep, he did.
Did he really research restoration?
I think so.
You obscene human being. Oh my. All right, well, we have seen the first restoration in a professional match of all time.
He had the mount.
He built the Defiler mount, but did he build any Defilers? I don't actually think so, G-Clef.
If he did, he can defend this one pretty easily, but that's a lot of Marines and Ultras that are out of there.
There's no Defiler tech here. Oh my god. All right, well, the Radiated Ultras will... Okay, there it is. Thank goodness. That was a little bit late. So you got to pull your bio back here just a second. The Irradiates actually really did soften up a lot of those Ultras, but actually taking out those Science Vessels would be a big pickoff. The Irradiates do go down, though. Is there enough bio here to kill all of these Ultras? Certainly not under Dark Swarm, that's for sure.
There are way too much Ultras for the Marines to actually defend, and there's... I don't think Leta's making any other Wraith anymore, so Mutas won't really be being made too many times. If they do, they can actually get pretty amount of kills onto those vessels and some good picks off of those Marines.
So there's a ton of bio here from Leta. So Modesty can't walk across the map and kill him by any means. But oh man, I have no idea how to call this game. This is just so weird.
He should have Lurkers by... He should have had Lurkers already, but he's just not making any.
Remember our Muta, our rule?
I think he made like 4 Hydralisk in this game.
No, I think maybe even that is too high. Yeah, for Modesty, you're only allowed to make 2 or less Hydralisks, and that's it. And honestly, if you make those 2, like, what are you doing? Come on. Whoa, no way! I didn't even see where's the physics? Oh my god.
BC is reporting. That's what we have here.
They sure. Battle Cruiser operational.
But with just 1, might not be enough to kill all these. But that's a big army of... Okay, those Mutas are doing... They should be killing Marines, not the vessels right now, because even those Ultra might not actually break through all the way in. Okay, there's a lot of Zerglings with upgrades. Okay, so this managed to actually break through all the way.
Yeah, the MK Ultras overrun the Marines. They pull back to the bunkers, but... I mean, I guess that's one way to defend the base. Unfortunately, Ultras are pretty strong there. He has the biggest medic wall, but 0 units to heal with those medics. So, unfortunately for Leta's bio army, it's gone. And he has 2 battle cruisers.
Yeah, battle cruisers can't attack those Ultras, but Ultras are going to kill everything else. That's GG.
GG, wow. Well, we're going to a game number 5, G-Clef. What a way to play. Modesty takes the win in game number 4, and Leta looks a little bit stunned there.
Why make Lurkers if you can win with Ultras?
That's actually a really great point there, G-Clef. I'm so happy you're here
make Lurkers?
To bring this sagacious wisdom to our awareness. Wow. Leta, unfortunately, he went for the 2 Starport Wraith play, and it worked really well. And then it fell apart afterwards. He wound up losing all of his Wraiths to a Sick and Snare play, and Modesty took over the game after having not really been pressured that much early on. So let's take a quick break, and we'll come back for the defining set number 5 coming up next.
선발 첫 신고식을 하고 있는 박준호 선수의 모습이 먼저 밝아졌고요. 5시, 11시. 그리고 이제 뭐 채팅에도 그런 얘기 했어요. 이제는 끝내야 된다. 왜냐하면은 늘 드리는 말씀, 흐름,
그렇죠.
다전제의
기세.
묘미.
네. 여기서 만약 박준호가 따낸다? 그럼 5세트까지 갔을 때는 오히려 기세가 박준호에게 올 수 있죠.
왜냐? 패패
승승승.
승승이 돼버리면은 쫓기는 자 입장이 되잖아요.
그렇죠. 아니에요.
에어테크 밟아 나가고 있는 박준호 선수.
저것도 뭐 깊게 들어가자면 페이크 아니었을까요? SCB가 돌아다니니까 전에 발업 정을 써서 발업인 것처럼 뒤늦을 내요. SCB 쫓아내고.
예.
깊게 생각해보면
네,
뭐 그런 걸 수도 있고.
그럴 수도
네,
있고
네, 그렇죠.
추가적으로 다른 방향으로 생각을 해보면 그냥 드론 조금 더 찍고 레어 누르자일 수도 있고요.
그러니까 그거는 박준호 선수의 생각을 박성균 선수가 어떻게 읽었느냐, 어떻게 해석을
그렇죠.
했느냐.
그러니까 생각이 많아지면
그죠.
지금 전태규 해설이 얘기했던
네.
부분처럼 생각할 수 있어요. 아
그렇죠.
이거 웨이크다. 선 바람을 찍어놓고
그죠.
할 수 있다라는 생각을 할 수도 있고요.
예.
병력적으로 풀어가겠다라는 생각.
자, 일단 투벙커를 입구 쪽에 건설해 놓고 있는 박성균 선수.
자, 이거 미르러 갈 것 같은데 이미 지금
벌처와
투벙커가 완성이 돼 있어서 리페어만 제때 붙으면은 막을 수 있긴 있습니다.
자, 요 벌처 한번 마주칩니다.
네. 역시나
다수의 히드라,
오버 속업 히드라죠.
오니 히드라.
네. 리페어 중요해요, 리페어.
그러면서 해처리. 대기하나요, 리페어?
이게
할만할
간혹
수 있- 예.
리페어가 늦게 붙어서
자,
벙커가
근데
예,
탱크가
부서지고
언덕 위에 있거든요 지금.
뚫리는 경우도 있긴 있습니다.
네, 근데 탱크가 언덕 위에 있고 두 번째 탱크가 나와서
아.
그냥 박준호도 들어가는 거보다는 12시를 먹으면서 좀 안정적인 운영을 하는 게 낫지 않을까
예.
생각이 드네요.
무리는 하지
네.
않습니다. 완급 조절하고 있는 박준호 선수. 우리 벌처가 한 대가 또 들어갑니다.
네,
오!
벌쳐.
빨간 벌처.
근데 이렇게 되면 박성균 선수가요. 터렛도 안 지어도 되고 위험 타이밍을 넘겼기 때문에
들어가는데요, 그냥?
자, 이거는 근데 언덕주 탱크라서
언덕 탱크야 베슬도 지금 많이 나와 있어서
예.
여기까지. 그리고 이제는 박성균 선수가 인터널을 구축하고 이제 곧 튀어나올 시간이어서
그렇죠.
박준호 선수가 한 번의 위기가 일단은 곧 옵니다.
야, 이거
자, 그래서 우회하고 있는 박성균 선수의 병력.
자, 드랍하는 척.
근데 지금은 박성균 선수가 저 오버로드 소급된 거를 보고 드랍 방어도
네.
살짝 했을 것 같아요.
모습을 보여줬었죠. 얼씬얼씬하는 모습.
뮤탈이 한 기가 찍혀네요.
예.
네, 그냥
섞어줬고요.
베슬잡이요.
네, 베스를 잡기 위해서
자, 어찌됐든 이 병력을 잡아 먹어야지만 박준호 선수는 기회가 계속해서 옵니다.
그렇죠. 이 병력을 깔끔하게 막아줘야만 이전 경기처럼 부유해지면서
자,
동시에 하이브까지도 갈 수 있는 거고요.
둘러싸서 먹겠다는.
자, 시즈 못하기 전에
둘러싸서
자, 이거는
생각입니다.
자, 이거는 박준호가 좋은 싸움이죠.
네, 박준호가
네.
그리고 패스까지죠. 이거는
아주 잘 덮쳤어요.
네, 럴커스트가 조금 박시기는 한데 탱크 하나 잡았고요.
예.
박성균도
한
정말
번 더. 이거는.
공격!
와,
박준호.
진짜 그냥 저그
클래식.
선수의
정말
네.
클래식해요.
옛날 스타일로
자,
히드라 럴커로
그리고 다시 한번 빼야죠.
네, 빼야죠.
근데 지금 정말 기세는 박준호가 좋게 플레이를 하긴 했습니다만은 박성균도 빼는 컨트롤 정말 좋았고요.
예.
병력의 어떤 그 컨트롤 자체가 나쁘지가 않았습니다.
네, 박준호 선수도요. 저 병력을 깔끔하게 잡아 먹어야지 대승을 해야 됩니다. 근데 소모전이 일어나면 안 되고 대승을 해야지만 드론을 채울 시간을 벌 수 있기
그렇죠.
때문에
적어요, 상대적으로.
완벽한 대승을 걷어내야 됩니다.
자, 광활한 센터에서 일단 움직이고 있는 박성균 선수.
지금 미네랄 멀티 지역에 드론을 추가하지 못하고 있는 단계이기 때문에
예.
말씀하신 것처럼 대승이 일어나야 되고요.
아, 여기 럭커가 아직 안
자,
된 상태. 에그들.
자, 이거
이거
뒤로.
와, 이거는 깨죽음. 야, 박준호 선수가 이 에그 변태를 하면서 보니까 럴커가 거의 완성이 된 거예요. 그래서
취소를
그냥,
못했죠.
취소를 안 했는데 와, 결과적으로 안 좋은 판단이 됐네요.
집중 포화를 받았습니다.
네.
와, 이거 한 방을 막아야 기회가 오는데 이거 한 방이 너무 강력해서
너무 강력해요.
다시 한번 동점입니다. 박준호 선수.
야, 와, 탱크가
말이
지지!
말이 쫙 퍼지면서 경기 승자조로 발걸음을 옮기는데 어쨌든 참 저는 개인적으로 재밌던 한판 승부 같다고 생각합니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the KSL Group D final game of the final set. And what a series it has been, G-Clef.
Yeah, what?
Queens
Hey,
and
series.
Snare, Restoration in my
was
games?
actually researched because that was actually, I believe that was another parasited vessel early on. So you did get the research. Of course, vessel, that's basically machine of gas. You don't want to waste. You don't want to kill your own vessel. Might as well just upgrade and look for the later build.
I think most Terrans would rather kill their vessel than research Restoration. I'll just put it that way. But it is kind of cool to see that. We're seeing a lot of new things from these two players. And, you know, last night when I was kind of, brushing up on what to talk about for this series, I was thinking to myself, okay, well, what are the sort of old school ways to play that we might see come back? But I never expected that we would see such a carbon copy of the last time these two guys faced off against each other 10 years ago. Exactly the same way. I mean, obviously, the builds weren't so consistent, but two-port Wraith is what Leta's most known for. Modesty is very well known for two-hatch Muta, but it doesn't usually look quite like this.
Well, roadkill. That's going to be our final map. This map, hopefully, maybe Modesty can be aggressive early game if you have the. You can try to just go for that 6th circle. And you can just let that SCB do scout. You don't have to stop. I think that was literally what was stopping him from going in as well.
I'm actually kind of surprised that Roadkill made it through. Obviously, we did have those bans. I think it was In the Way of an Eddy. It was banned. You should see that banned a lot because it's super new. But Roadkill is also super new, made by the same guy, Freakling, a foreign map maker, and it's cool to have that as a newer map be consistent in the KSL. But it's not a map that these guys would have played on very much, especially not back in the day because it didn't exist. So let's get into our final game, find out who's going to come out on top.
Yep, and I think it's a little before we hit that into the music cue, but we're going to have that final game coming up very soon.
One of these guys has got to play last, so they need to not only think about this game, but maybe the games to come. So let's get into game number 5. And here we are. 5 games have led us to this place. Or I guess 4 games.
Roadkill.
That's right. There's a joke to be made about the name of the map in this series, but can't quite put those words together. Our Terran player is obviously Leta, and his Zerg opponent in the north at 12 o'clock is Modesty. Are we going to return to that 8-rack style? It looks like we just might.
The final game, do whatever you did before. You just gotta have it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this 8-rack style, kid tested, mother approved. You gotta go for it.
But is he going to have the right scouts?
Well, you know, out of all of the games that we have seen 8-racks, 2 have worked, 1 have not. That's a 66% success rate. G-Clef. So, I mean, you can't argue with statistics. That's actually something you should probably argue with. That's a terrible stat. And
yeah,
honestly,
Ben, one of the map was 1v1, I think.
Yes, you are correct about that. You're really tearing down my argument. I spent 10 years in post-high school education to get that stat, G-Clef.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure you're a well-educated man.
Okay, look at this. We're going to see 12 pool and probably another repeat of, what was the game he went 12 pool? That was the second game, right?
And there was one more. The first game as well, I believe.
Okay, well, either way, it didn't work out very well. So, well, we're guaranteed going to see 2-hatch Muta here. I can't imagine he's going to build a Hydra Den again. Maybe that was the adjustment he made to his build that led to his inevitable victory. I don't know, but
it seems like neither of the players actually want to change in anything. Okay,
yeah.
Leta may just have. Okay, he already has a Marine.
Oh no way! He blocks the hatch. Sick SCV timing. Basically the perfect storm here for Leta, and you can already see the drones being pulled because Modesty knows what's up by this point.
Okay, Marine's coming. He should pull those drones back very soon. He has a lot of minerals, and I know he wants to make that hatch.
Hatch does get down, but I mean, there's more Marines where that came from. Big difference this time around is that the SCV is actually pretty damaged. So he's going to kind of rally the troops back by the barracks, come back with maybe a few more, or just head back home. And it looks like, yeah, we're piecing the scene on this one.
Yeah, because he knows that Hatch timing was a little late, as that was after that SCV actually made the barracks that went all the way up there. Of course, he didn't really waste time going into any other side, so that was a little lucky for Leta there. But just one Marine, you know that timing Zergling should be coming out soon, so he just backs out, doesn't want to lose any Marines. Okay, that's going to be one down at least.
Yeah, bunker back at home just to make sure that these Lings don't actually do a whole lot, and it should be a good defense against the Lings, and I mean, Leta guaranteed knows that mutas are coming up here too, so should be very well prepared for that. I mean, I'm guessing we're just going to see, this is the Groundhog Day cast, G-Clef. Where we get a chance to watch the same build, about 20 different varieties, maybe only one of which has restoration in it, I don't know. But yeah, here comes the starport.
What are some weird things that we did not see?
We never really got to infest the command center. I thought we were close at some point.
That was pretty hard to pull off, so and we see a lot of GG for that.
Well, here comes the lair, and that means that the Spire is right on point, and that's going to be a sunken colony, and maybe that drone's going to be a Hydra den. I really liked it. Obviously, that's what Hydras are for, killing Wraiths.
Well, right next to that, right next to the natural, it is not a place where you just want to have that Hydra. And Modesty just has been building sunken all the time, even before seeing what's happening. But he got a good scout on what was happening into Leta's base.
Yeah.
And it's again 1-on-1. The Wraith should be coming, not the double this time on the starport.
I mean, don't speak too soon here, G-Clef. We could have the triple star. I don't know. I don't know. Really, anything could happen here. It's kind of rare that you get a chance to watch two players who are so consistently only ever doing the same builds, because, you know, against other Terran or Zerg players, you would have to think really hard in your brain about what to expect coming up next.
Coming up next, it will be the Spider Mines.
Yeah, and so that's going to be the deviation, right, for this game. We're not going to have the two-port. We are just going to go 1-1-1 and then sort of mix it up after that. And it'll be interesting to see what Leta wants to do with this, because he has been very hesitant to leave his base. Until one day, all that changed. We'll find out what the way he wants to play is, but you're right, it is going to either be mines or speed. I'm guessing mines, like you said.
With the control tower, he can just go with the, instead of, okay, he does have one Wraith, maybe he just wants to gather up.
Oh, imagine Leta playing a game without Wraiths. Tell me more, G-Clef.
Okay, I was thinking more about the normal ones, like the dropships that could happen, and not right now, but later into the game.
Yeah, you need to move those out of range of sunken. Just helping him out there a second. The mutas are out. Those were eggs that were morphing. And that is a dead vulture, but many dead drones, and I think that's the real victory there. Leta trading super, super well there. Definitely thought it was going to be mines, didn't quite turn out that way, but hey, it's a cool little way to mix things up. And of course, there is still that Wraith, which is now having to run the Scourge over a missile turret that is not yet completed. 3, in fact. Wow. So he's going to be totally rock solid against these mutas. They're going to be a little bit annoying. And actually, okay, wow, he catches the Marines in transition.
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do when you have the muta. You're always supposed to look for this timing.
Now,
okay, a turret.
Oh,
okay,
wow, he actually does get the
one.
Scourge. Wow, really good control. So he had those on a separate hotkey underneath the mutas and then just set them right out. Perfect connection. Beautifully played there by Modesty. And actually, with the double turrets being built on the left-hand side instead of the right-hand side, this is a really good angle for Modesty to hit. He's delaying that second turret from coming up and actually catching out quite a few of those SCVs.
Yeah, and Leta does not have the second command center going up anywhere. And even though you lose few of your mutalisks, if you can delay, do some damage like that, that's just good enough, because you got your second, you got your natural going around already. You're going to have your backup mutas coming up very soon. I think this is exactly what Modesty needed to play.
Yeah, much better performance here this time from this build from Modesty. He's got another couple of Scourge. He's put them on another control group underneath the mutas again, and I think he's going to be able to catch this Wraith out again. So Cloak is about to finish for these raids, and that might be the big surprise move for League, but an Overlord is right there. So this could be a little bit dicey. That's a science facility, so eventually Vessels will come out, but Vessels, Irradiate, like it's all gonna take so long.
Early Evil Chamber may actually be spotted.
Wait, wow, Leta has just the wrecking balls here. He is going across the map. Instead of going back home to defend against the Mutas, he heads across the map to deny mining at the natural with a vulture, and in the main with cloaked rays.
Okay, maybe just making few spore colonies and then just letting your base somewhat in control against those wraith, and then flowing around with the Muta. It could be okay because this is just a single starport, not that many wraith.
Yeah, he only had 2 because, like you said, it was only a single starport. Once again, these Mutas fail to recognize that they need detection for the cloaked rays and venture a little bit too far afield from their overlords. But eventually the overlords are going to catch up, and there's not a lot of anti-air. It's so difficult because you have to defend 3 locations with
very
turrets.
low on HP.
The mineral line in the main, the mineral line in the natural, and the production facilities. And he only has the mineral line in the main defended. So
yeah, this is exactly what you do as Zerg. You pressure into turret Terran. So Leta had to make like how many turrets? I see like 8 turrets in total. Like 6 in the base. He's making the second one here next to the natural, but he's getting all the SCVs as canceled.
This game is going much better for Modesty than really any of the others. Leta's build has been completely stifled. Now, he always has been playing very defensively, but this time I think it is definitely warranted. A 9-minute hive coming through for Modesty here, and so he's really going to accelerate up the tech tree. Still on 2 hatches, by the way. So, yeah, I think yesterday we actually had a 1-2 hatch hive game.
Snipe perfectly. He had those scourges below the Mutalis all this time.
Yeah, they are sort of lurking in the waters. Those Scourge are like sharks without a top fin. You can't see them coming until they hit. But you can see the Mutas here, and they're just being so drastically effective. Honestly, these Mutas could... How many Mutas is that? Is that really only 4 Mutas?
I think so. He lost a lot in middle, so backup are getting the numbers in, but...
Oh, look at this vulture. Okay, well, every drone there dies unless he pulls.
He has Mutalis, so it's going to be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually thought that he kind of forgot to move those Mutas, but they're the base defense. All right, so he keeps the drones in the natural alive, well, all except for like 2 or 3. And now he's actually going to pull the Muta reinforcements down. An Ultra Cavern on 2.5 bases, G-Clef. Tell me more about the prep you did for these games.
We're supposed to see the Hydralisk stand in the middle somewhere, but
oh my gosh.
They're all very low, so this
there's no Overlord there. So that 1 Cloak Race could actually just kill every Muta. Where's the nearest Overlord? Okay, it's right up above it. And he does have Overlord speed now, so this should be more readily available. But wow, you know, Leta is still alive. He definitely took some damage, took some hits, but...
Oh, he's bruised right now. He took a lot of hits. And the second Evo, I think he's just having the armor right now, maybe going with the weapon upgrade as well. Just to have that melee with the Zerglings.
A really unique series here. Every game something different, but also something the same. In fact, most things the same. But
Modesty knows that he has a massive lead in this game. He's going in right now.
Yeah, and this is going to be
destroy and
the killing blow.
GG.
I mean, there's blocking the surface area with Marines and with that supply depot, but the bunker's still going to fall. The Marines inside are going to die, and so will Leta. GG. Leta taps out, and Modesty takes game number 5 to clinch the series at 3-2. Clinch the series, by the way. I guess he did kind of clench the natural expansion in his clutches, if I can use more CL blends. But in the end, you can see his head is a little bit injured after that, as may be a few of our viewers and perhaps our very own.
And finally a game in a series, the final one, the 5th one, where Modesty did what he was supposed to do with that Muta.
Yes.
When you go into Mutas, you're supposed to pressure the base back from the natural when you have Mutas just like that. And Leta, he could not respond too perfectly against it because he was going for that Wraith. And that's why we don't see that Wraith build too many times.
Certainly, yes. Many reasons for that. For Modesty, he's got to feel good about the victory, but he has to think about what's coming up, right? He will be in the winner's match against Last. And while Leta was known for being a TVT god back in the day who could rival Flash, Modesty was not a great ZVT player, primarily a ZVZ guy. So he does take out Leta, so that is still a good win, and it's going to put him in a good position to advance out of the group. But, he still has a hard road ahead of him to take on Last in the winner's match whenever we get back to Group D.
Yeah, Last had a really solid win against JYJ. He was showing that how good he is at the moment as a current player, not just a TVT. He's certainly good at TVP, and against Zerg as well. So against Modesty, it's going to be a good fight, but I think Modesty has to step up a little more compared to what he has shown us today in order to advance from Group D here.
And I really want to see either one of these players play a matchup that's not this one, right? For Modesty, he might try the same ZVT builds, but it's not going to work against Last 100%. So, I mean, Last is watching these games and he's like, all right, so he pool first into 2-hatch Muta, and then he does it again. And so after 5 games of that, Last is like, all right, so what build do I prepare for? So he's got it rock solid. For Leta, I don't know how he's going to handle going into a TVT, but he should come out on top there. JYJ is pretty impressive, though, so I don't know what to expect. Either way, I'm excited to hear what Modesty has to say on stage.
Welcome to the second match. The winner, we have it here, and it is Modesty. Hyunwoo Kim. That was your first match on stage. How do you feel? I'm really tired right now. Against Leta, we had a lot of mind games in the middle. I was expecting the forward barracks, but I had a build that I had the right build against him with the pull, and that's why I was able to win. You do sound pretty tired, but a lot of your games were pretty nasty, I would say. Yeah, lots of forward barracks, proxy barracks. How did you feel when he was doing it all the time against you? Well, after the forward barrack, one-on-one is what a lot of Terrans do these days. I knew that he was going to do that as a Terran, but I did not have a situation where I could have a nice defense against him. I did not really have the best strategy against one-on-ones. And how I tried to solve the game was actually really hard. But the games I played, I think that's actually a way to react against it, which actually worked out okay in this match. Were you actually expecting those 8SB barracks play? Yeah, I was actually expecting those builds, but still, I let some of them through, do a little too much damage on me. And I was just saying, the bunker cannot finish. There's no way. I let that finish. I think that was a good move to actually go for that counter build, which I prepared, which was just right against what Leta was trying to do in the final game. You saw a lot of Queen. Do you actually make and use Queen often? No, of course not. And I kind of knew that he was going for that a double starport. Even if you know that the opponent has a 2 starport, if the micro from the Terran is really good on rate, it's really hard to defend against it. And I think that was the reason why I thought of Queen, which I remember back in the days I used to use it against the double starport, and it turned out to be okay for me by using Queen. We did not see any lurkers. What's up with that?
상대가 정상적인 원배럭 더블 이후에 운영이 아니었기 때문에 러커를 굳이 갈 필요가 없었고
Yeah, it was actually not the commentator after the double barracks. So I think that's the reason why I did not go lurkers. Lots of raids, so I went for, when there are lots of raids, there can be just lots of, maybe some dropships. So that's the reason why I made a lot of Mutalisk and some Scourge. I think that was a key point of the matchup today. You're having some nice matches since the qualifiers. Were there any changes in the middle? Honestly, after the military service actually worked, I didn't really play too much game of Starcraft. I had some community or PC, the ICR community games, community tournaments. I wasn't being like, okay, I'm going to go into KSL when I was going into the qualifiers today for KSL this season. I think I got a little lucky, and I was able to go through the qualifiers on the stage now. And now I'm in the winner's match, and which makes me very happy. Of course, you're now in the winner's match. And I heard you actually stopped working on something else, and then now you're just fully into StarCraft. Yeah, for now I'm totally focusing on StarCraft only. My next opponent will be last. Yeah, I wish I can play some good game against him. He's the defending champion. And I know that he's going to be a very tough opponent to beat. But I will at least show what I can do on stage for my fans. Congratulations once again, Modesty. Thank you for the interview. And that's it for translations.
Well, thank you very much, G-Clef. As always, really interesting to hear from Modesty saying, hey, I'm back. I didn't expect to be here, but now that I am, focusing fully on the KSL. And I think he's going to need it going up against Last. Honestly, the mastermind of Group D. He is the champion, so he had that the ability to enter any group that he wanted.
Yes.
And he picked one that he is realistically very favored to get out from. But who gets out in second place? I don't know.
Well, that's going to be the mystery between the three, JYJ, Modesty, and Leta. What's going to happen between those three? I don't know. Even if, okay, we're not saying Modesty is 100% going to lose, but Last is very, very strong right now. So if Modesty goes down, he'll have to fight with the loser, the winner from the loser's bracket. That's going to be the double elimination format of the Group D here. As Last, of course, we heard it from the interview that Modesty says Last seems pretty tough, like a pretty tough opponent to beat. I think that's literally true.
Well, that's going to do it for KSL for this week and for next week as well. We'll be taking a one-week break while the WCS Global Finals are going on at BlizzCon. They actually start only moments after this broadcast, so you do not want to miss that. When we come back in 2 weeks, we'll be having Group A Round 2, which is where we have the winners of the previous round face off against each other. The lower elimination match is going to be between Action and Light down there. So this is going to be very exciting, but it is going to take a couple of weeks for us to get there.
Oh, yes.
In the meantime, we actually get a chance to watch Last and
Rain
play
KSL versus KSL
at BlizzCon.
That's going to be the hype match I'll be watching. And that's also Last will actually be on the airplane. He's got to be flying soon then.
So Last played today, and now he has to go to BlizzCon and play that match, and then he's got to come back here. Well, whichever way America is. I don't know which way I'm facing right now. But anyway, there's a lot of StarCraft left to come up because tomorrow is the ASL third and fourth place match, and then the ASL Grand Finals on Sunday between Flash and Effort. It's a rematch of the Korean Air OSL, one of the best biggest finals Brood War has ever seen, so you cannot miss that. And then, of course, make sure to watch KSL versus ASL at BlizzCon. And even if you're only here for StarCraft 1, or if you've been in the WCS Global Finals waiting room this whole time, make sure to stick around for those StarCraft 2 games coming up almost immediately after this broadcast, because it's going to be super sick. If you're wondering why we're here and where Tastosis and the rest of the casters are, they are getting ready for all this at BlizzCon. So
all the way back from Korea to US all the time. And I enjoyed. I feel the love from the StarCraft community. Thanks for all the feedback, guys.
Thanks for being here, G.
I know it's my second cast of StarCraft, but I'm enjoying it with rapid casting.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here in front of you all as well. I hope you've all enjoyed the games. We're going to take a week break, and then we'll be back with more KSL, but enjoy the WCS Global Finals coming up here in just a moment, and we will see you back for even more KSL in a couple of weeks. Have a good afternoon, morning, or night, wherever you are.
Or lunch or breakfast, wherever you
Whatever
are. Whatever
meal is coming up next for you.
Make sure you eat.
We'll see you next time. Have a good night.